Don Nicholson, you're president of Federated Farmers. Tonight at the Chaplaincy Forum on Climate Change, a fairly lively meeting, obviously not a consensus among the people there. You held up your end of the wicket pretty well. I noticed there's a few things that came through in your argument. You talked about climate variation instead of climate change. Why is that?
Well, I think the term climate change has permeated a climate of fear in people around the world, enhanced by Al Gore's movie The Inconvenient Truth, and I just think it's time to put a different slant on it. Effectively, climate variation is what we're dealing with in terms of the efficiency of the resource use I talked about. Global warming is obviously a concern if you look at the graphs that Andy put up, and I'm just focusing on what I need to focus on, and that is what I know about.
The term climate variation tends to imply that climates go up and climates go down and as a natural course of events. Do you see that there's a human contribution towards climate change, and to what extent, if so, do you see that?
Climates do go up and down. We have known that for many years, obviously, and as I said earlier, I remember in the 70s, just before 1980, that we were worried about global cooling in this country. It's obviously a variable thing, climate. But human activity causing an effect on climate, the jury is out on it, because if you read some of the skeptics' books, what are labelled, people that are labelled skeptics, you do get the opposite view. Now, what you also get is that the view of the UN IPCC is different by the IPCC people. They say that the evidence presented to that first document was corrupted, and I want to know who's right. I have no view on it. I just want to know who's right.
You laboured the point that we, quote unquote, shouldn't kill the golden goose of the New Zealand economy, which is the farming sector. You also emphasised the need to emphasise research and development of technological solutions to the climate, the contribution of the agricultural sector to climate change. What do you see farmers as doing in the interim while we're waiting for that to happen on a bigger scale than it is?
Well, currently the only tool around, there's two tools actually, and I only said one tonight. There's nitrification inhibitors. They don't work everywhere. Every part of the country has got different topography. There seems to be a view that all New Zealand is flat and we can do everything on the same farm, on every farm. Well, it just doesn't work that way. But what we can do as well is plant new types of plant species to feed ruminant animals that have different tannins in them, and that does start to diminish methane emissions, but they don't grow everywhere. That's another problem.
There was talk tonight from one of the presenters about the way the banking system drives farmers into perhaps overrunning their land and to running stocking levels they might not want to run but have to out of economic necessity. Do you think there's anything that can be done in reform of the banking system or capital formation in the country?
Look, there's a variety of economic decisions people make. Banks are part of that economic decision. Effectively, there is two schools of thought. One is increasing production. Chasing production is the way forward. Others are saying we should chase profitability. There is a tension between those two things, but I just value the people that are farming make those choices for themselves.
You also talked about how farmers have borne the brunt of economic restructuring in New Zealand and felt there needed to be more equitable sharing of the burden, if there's going to be one, for reducing carbon emissions in New Zealand, or at least paying the price for it. How would you see that happening?
Well, I hate to say it, really, but there is no choice. If New Zealand farmers are expected to mitigate their emissions profile that they have currently, and the tools that we need aren't available universally, or nationwide that is, then I'm afraid you're going to have to pay as a nation to have a reduction in that production system we know as the New Zealand farm, and I think the country's going to have to pay. If you want to destock the country, or you want to stop farmers producing something off the land, then you have to come with a chequebook.
And in what sort of form would you see that taking?
Well, it's already happening in the Taupo region. That are altering. They've got nitrogen capping in that region. Farmers have to buy the right, effectively, new farmers to buy the right to farm in that region. If that moves around the country, well, that's what I'm just saying. The country has to come with a chequebook, as they have done in Taupo.
What, and accept a lower standard of living?
No, that's not the issue. The farmers have the ability to move off their land because they've had their land use rights stolen from them.
Don, you got howled down at certain points tonight. Is there anything that you'd like to say without anyone talking you down, and a message you'd like to put out there on the net for people that are browsing by and want to hear what you've got to say?
Look, I enjoyed tonight. I thought it was a great night. I haven't had that company before. I'm very happy that I came. I think the secret to society is not to fear tomorrow, and I really do worry about people that put the climate of fear into the minds of others. I think tonight was useful, but I really do not fear tomorrow as an individual. I've learnt not to, otherwise I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today.
Thank you very much.